Hey, you guys, how's it going today?
We're doing wonderful. How about you?
Good, good, good. You're close by. I'm in Pensacola. You guys are in Crestview, so not too far away. We got getting a lot of rain, right?
It's been wild. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of rain.
But remember, a few weeks ago we were whining about no rain, right? About 3 or 4 weeks
Right.
ago. Um, Thank you guys for being on. Natalie, I'm so glad you can be on today. We get a little unique perspective, a different aspect to the podcast. So yeah, thank you guys. Can you tell me the name of the academy?
Yep. Our academy is called Breakwater BJJ. It's in Crestview, Florida.
Crestview, Florida. And can you tell me your names, your first and last names?
Yep. My name is Rachel Demara. I'm the head coach here, and this is my daughter, Natalie Thompson. She takes the kids class, and she's my assistant coach for our Little Grapplers program, which is our 3, 4, and 5-year-olds.
Awesome, awesome. Um, let's go over the classes you guys offer. What kind of classes you guys offer and like the age groups there?
Yeah, so right now, we're exclusively jujitsu, but we are going to add adult Muay Thai at the end of the month. So we're really looking forward to that. We start our kids as early as 3 years old, but we're not doing any live sparring. There's no hard takedowns. They're doing movement drills, learning how to bow in, learning how to shake hands, and then a little bit of if a like a bridge and roll, so a situational kind of sparring, very light contact for our 3 to 5-year-olds. And then somewhere around the age of 5 or 6 years old, they'll move up to the kids class, which Natalie is in, and that goes to about 12 years old. And we do full grappling at that point with the kids. And then we have an adult class, and right now our teams are training in our adult class in the evening. We were really hoping our school was going to be a family school. So it's run by my partner, and my 2 kids are here. So we have a lot of teens that train with their dads in the nighttime, which is really cool. So I've been happy to have, dad, daughter, dad, son duos. I have one mom into with her teens. So I'm happy about that. I hope to get more moms, but right now we've got
Awesome.
one with the teenagers. So it's a good start.
You mentioned 3-year-old. I mean, most academies start with 4.
Yeah.
Just from what I observed. And so as long as they're out of diapers, is that what it is?
Yeah, the kids, I mean, it's very low contact. Like we have a very soft balance beam that's like 3 inches off of the ground. So we'll have the kids work on first walking across the soft balance beam or posting their hands and trying to do lateral moves like they'd be doing a guard pass around. Very, very
Mhm.
gentle for the 3 to 5-year-old class.
Somebody the other day was talking about, they had their daughter in gymnastics for the first couple years or so when she started sports and then moved into jujitsu. He said he recommends gymnastics first because of the balance aspect
So she's a
and
she's a
learning how to.
tumbler. She does tumbling, not full gymnastics, but the tumbling part, and she has very good balance and very good shoulder strength that has, helped in here with the cross training.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So you're adding that right away. That's cool. Um, Uh, do you wanna start can you start as, far back as you want with the story? And Natalie, if you wanna go first or you wanna go first and segue into Natalie's, story? I know you have a story as well, Natalie. However you would like to
You want to be
start it.
first or second, kitty cat?
I'm second.
All right, so you want to go second. So I
Okay, cool.
started training in 2006, and interestingly enough, my partner Fred, her dad, he started training in 2006, but we were in different states, and then we both ended up in Maryland around 2008, 2009, and we were training at the same academy. We joined the same competition team, and so we've been training together since 2009 on the traveling competition team. And
Why did
I
you get into
really,
jujitsu in the first place? What was
oh, so
that?
how I got into it. So in college, I started doing cardio kickboxing and I thought it was a lot of fun. So then I was like, well, if I'm in here training all the time, I may as well do something that's actually, not just cardio, but like a skill based. So I joined a striking class and really liked that for about a year. And when I was in there, the jujitsu school had its very first ever women's only class. And so I said, well, sure, why not? I'll go to the women's only class. And so probably my first 2 or 3 years, I still maintained striking and did a little bit of MMA. And then I really just took to jujitsu and I started competing a lot. And it felt like my striking was holding me back from the jujitsu training that I needed to be doing to be at the top of the, competition circuit. So it ended
Why
up.
did you think you took to jujitsu so much?
So I, I don't know. Jujitsu to me is very complicated. It is very fun. When I was young, there weren't any women's wrestling programs, but my uncle, since I had brothers, taught me how a little bit of wrestling. So we would like wrestle at my parents' farm with my uncle and my brothers. So I
Yeah.
already had a little bit of that like naturally in there. But the other thing too is like with striking, I was a little bit less successful training with the males than I was in jujitsu. So I started getting a little bit more success because of the leverage, etc. So I was like, oh, okay, I can hold my own a little bit better in the room. And so I don't know if that's other women's experiences or just mine, but it felt like I was able to be more competitive. There weren't very many females to train with, and it was more fun for me. And I just, I had a little bit more success in it, and I think that was motivating.
It seems like, from everyone's from so many people's, stories that jujitsu is so accessible, right? I mean, because the specific reasons you gave, I mean, being a woman, you're talking about going up against men, I guess. I think that's what
Yeah.
you were saying. But it's also the wrestling growing up. That's true, you know. Everybody wrestles with their parents and their siblings growing up, and I mean
Yeah.
that's kind of ingrained in us, right? So I mean, it's accessible in that regard. I mean, you're harking back to your childhood. Um, One other thing that you said is it was very complicated. I wanna ask this, just to answer it truthfully, you don't have to give a really strong jujitsu edge to this, but, did you feel like jujitsu was more complicated than striking at the time?
Yes, I did. It's been a very long time since I've done it, any stand-up striking, but yeah, I felt like there were y y you can put together various combinations, you can get your ranges, you can get your angles, you can get your timing, but in jujitsu, there was just a whole set of in gi, I'm gonna do this series of submissions, this series of passes, and then in no gi, I'm gonna change it up and do this series and this sort of, thing. So I think it kept my interest for longer than striking did, just because, 20 years in, I still feel like there's plenty of things that I haven't even started to be able to learn how to do. And so it's different than putting together the various combinations. Uh, it's it just seems like there's so many more options and, endless learning with it rather than, um, refinement. I mean, not that I'm not refining in jujitsu, I am, but I still am learning, new things. We have a joke in here that even though my partner and I have been training together for almost our entire career, we do absolutely nothing the same. And I think it's just because our different attributes. I mean, he's a dude, I'm a middle-aged mom. We just don't apply jujitsu in the same way, and so I think that's very interesting. I think we're a good tag team because it's like, okay, you go and you be an artist, you try all the things each of us teach and you figure out whether it's gonna be his way, my way, your own new way, whatever you wanna do. We're pretty, chill about, like, get the job done however you wanna get it to done because, again, I think your attributes and your style and your artistry um, should be able to shine. And we don't have a very particular, like, you must do this and you must do that. We're a little more conceptual than we are very specific details. Um,
Mm.
so that's kind of how we try to run the class on that. But yeah, it's yeah,
I
you know, I
I think it's
try to
hard to
give people.
explain I think it's hard to explain the comparison, right, between jujitsu and striking, why
Yeah,
jujitsu at least seemed more, complicated to you personally. I'm not saying it does for everyone,
yeah,
but I'm just trying to but I kinda understand what you're saying, yeah. Um, it can definitely feel that way, right? And I don't know, I'm an outsider looking in, I've never, practiced, MMA or Muay Thai or jujitsu myself. My son practices jujitsu, so I'm trying to understand it as well. But yeah, I think you explained it pretty well. Alright, continue the story. So you guys both were at the same gym, is that correct?
yeah. We met at the same gym. We were on the same
Okay,
competition team for a long time. I've moved. He's moved with our various jobs. So we've been at different gyms depending on where our commute was, or the same gym throughout time. Um, but yeah, we started dating I think in 2009. So pretty early into our travels. And again, we've mostly been at the same place as we went. And um, I ended up, I was a forensic DNA analyst, and for a lot of reasons, just decided I was completely and utterly done with government work, and I wanted to move home. And um, I've mostly been running the gym, but as my life partner, he's been stepping in to help me out. So, he still maintains his software engineering job, and he's in the academy as much as he can, but. Um, yeah, I
yeah.
I was able to move home. I was able to get a different quality of life, when I came here. Um, so
So
I
this is
overall.
home for you, is that what you're saying? This is
Yeah, yeah, so I grew up here. I
yeah,
moved away in 2001, and, we just moved back the last couple years. So I was gone almost 20 years, or a little over 20 years, with my career, before we
got it.
decided to the school. And then again, like I said, we're not married, but we're life partners. So, I'm kind of taking on a lot of the logistics, and he's in as much as he can to help support, um, yeah, the
Did
school.
you say that you guys met at the gym? Is that what you were saying, or you just happened to go to the same place, or what was that?
Yeah, so we ended up at the same academy in Maryland, and we trained together for a while, not really knowing each other, just kind of mixed in. And then when
Yeah,
we
yeah.
both became competitors, we were traveling all the time. So we'd go to New York, New Jersey, Miami, Los Angeles, and with a year of us just traveling together in a smaller group, that's how we ended up dating. Was a year of competition team travel.
Yeah, I'm trying to get at, like, jujitsu can be such a social thing for people, right?
Oh, yeah.
I
So
mean, I
there's a
understand you guys were traveling as well. I mean, yeah, so it's a
Yeah,
bit more than just to go to the
there's
gym.
a concept called third place, and I think jujitsu is my third place. So some people have that like in community service, some people have it at church, but a third place is somewhere that is not work and is not home. And so this is my third place and has been for 2 decades. I I don't drink, I don't like socializing, like, I'm not gonna go and watch a sports game at a sports bar kind of a thing. That's not gonna be my fun activity. Jiu-jitsu is really where I meet people and have really for 20 years is this is my third place, my social part. I tell people it's my happy place.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. We were talking about the 3rd place. Somebody mentioned it, like, a few podcasts ago,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
was my first time hearing it. Yeah, so we've talked about it in a couple podcasts, yeah. I I I
Very cool.
I mean, it makes 100%, like, not dumping everything from work onto home, same thing with home to work, and it gets spread out, but also it's just like another enhancement to your social life. Um, yeah, the 3rd place. Um, how did, Breakwater start? How did you guys how did that come to fruition?
Yeah, when I was finished doing, my government service and wanted to move home, I decided to start looking in the area, a l started looking for a lease space, a space came open, and, I just decided that this was gonna be a better setup. So, we're at my mom's house every Wednesday night for dinner. She's hanging out with her cousins every week. I've got my mom nearby to help out. It's a better setup for me to have my kids being raised around family. There were no science jobs that were in my career field in this area, so I've done science and I've done jujitsu, and so with no other real, like, science career stuff in the area, jujitsu was it. So that's what I've just decided to, do for a living. So
You can still do science projects, right? With the kids.
I was over here wondering if I could get in contact with someone to, um, not my particular type of science, but their type of science to see in what ways jujitsu helps kids. Because I've been working with some kids on their impulse control and working on things with coordination for certain kids. So I was like, I really need a scientist in that discipline who wants to be my teammate because I love science and see if we can put together some sort of study on, some of the benefits for the kids. So if anybody watches and they want to talk to me, I'll nerd out with you.
I'm writing it down if I come across
Yeah.
somebody. But yeah, 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 maybe, that could happen. I'm writing it down. I
I think it
understand what
would
you're
be really
saying,
fun
that's
because again,
interesting.
when you switch from gi to no gi, there's different rule sets. You have to under stress make really sound decisions that follows the rule set. You also have to make decisions under stress that is appropriate for your partner. So we always talk about like being like with my kids, like that this has a martial arts component. Like you have to be a good uke. You have to, figure out how to help your partner be successful. Like give them feedback. Like if you can go out there and just crush someone, don't go out there and just crush someone. So I think it's a good skill set for kids to learn. But there are all of these inhibitory control and impulse control that you get while under stress that I think is beneficial for kids.
Yeah, so even if someone's watching that's not local, even virtual help. Yeah, right?
Yeah. I just like I said, I really do enjoy science. I've done science and I've done jiu-jitsu, and I think that's a way that I could probably get science back into my life. I mean, not me as the scientist on the project, but like
Well, jujitsu in
definitely.
America, it's fairly new, and it's continuously, evolving. I mean, there's certain aspects that we hit on in the podcast that kinda make sparks in my head like, "Oh, okay, maybe that's the direction things are going." And this is another one,
Yeah.
adding, I mean, I've known, former nurses or current nurses or, doctors who train or who have a gym, and, they're, of course, implementing as much health stuff as possible. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I understand what you're saying, like, who knows where that can go. That's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, Natalie, do you wanna tell us your story at this point? What happened? How did you get into jujitsu?
Uh,
Was it
my
something that
mom,
happened with your, peers at school or something, or
uh, my mom wanted me to learn some self-defense, so just in case anytime I need to like get like if someone puts me down on my back, I know what to do.
I've told
Yeah,
both of my children, you don't have to love jujitsu like mommy and daddy, but you have to have enough skills that if someone knocks you down, you know how to get back up. I said, so
mhm.
before they move out, they must have that skill.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's cool. So
Do you
so
like
have you
jujitsu now?
Yeah, it's very fun. I've done one tournament and
Oh,
it was a really small one. I did one match. I did best 2 out of 3 against a boy, and I won the first two, and I got like a little medal for it.
Yeah.
really? Wow.
Yeah, so,
So
we put her in jujitsu at 5 and then didn't keep her in for very long because she didn't really love it. We put her back in at 6, pulled her back out 'cause she didn't really love it, put her back in 7, pulled her out just because she didn't really love it. Hi, Maxie. This is my youngest. I guess he's joining us. But, yeah, so I've tried really hard not to push her. She's
mhm,
enjoyed, tumbling, much more, but I think
mhm.
training for that tournament and having some competition success has, helped her interest in it. But I've
Yeah.
I've I've wanted to not push her because I want to long term before she graduates hit her goal of, having some self-defense skills without her being unhappy with it. Same thing with this guy. He's 6 and he's on the mat a little bit, but not full time either. Just, my goal is the long-term view of making sure before, they move out that they're there, but not making it there's no reason it has to be before 7 or before 10. It just has to be before they leave.
Mhm. Right, right. Yeah, and even my son, we've pulled him out and put him back in, for, like, a few months, take him out and then put him back in for, it was always because he was doing karate as well, for the first, like,
Mm.
couple years. So we would go back and forth, and then we would do it at the same time, and there was always the conversation of, "What do you like about karate, and what do you like about jujitsu? What you don't like about each one?" And there's
Yeah.
always certain things. Can you tell me, like, maybe one thing that you did not like about jujitsu, Natalie? Something that you might have not, like, really loved about it?
Um,
Was it really hard sometimes?
yeah.
Yeah, jujitsu can be really tough. Again, this is just my perspective, and she can tell me yes or no. In tumbling, she had a whole lot of girls, and so she got her social component. And then when she went to jujitsu, there were hardly any girls. So
Mhm.
now that I'm running the classes, and she's at my school, I'm getting more young girls, and they end up when the parents are grappling, the girls have social club afterwards, and so I think that's helped too with some of the interest is, um, r we're starting to get more young girls in there, and I think that's more interesting to her to have a peer. So, yeah.
When y'all have, yeah, that's always been a thing for my son, and I think almost every kid is that, it's really tough, and sometimes you can get hurt, not seriously hurt and go into the hospital all the time, of course. We wouldn't do it if that was the case, the parents wouldn't do it, but,
Yeah.
there's crying in almost every class, where we go, somebody will cry, and they'll come off the mat, and then, and they'll be okay. But it is tough, and, but that's a part of the reason why, we've done it. It is tough, and, he gets to push through tough, times, tough moments. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, it's definitely, can be tougher than, just tumbling and stuff, right? So it's quite interesting. What about, you said the social hour, is there, like, a space there at the academy where how does that
Yeah.
work out? Space and time for the social hour
Yeah, so
after rowing?
whenever I was looking for lease space because I'm gonna have my kids in here all the time, I wanted to make sure that it was set up for them. So we have our mat side, which we're on right now, and then we have a little lobby in the front, and then we have a playroom where they do like marble run, puzzles, coloring books. And then we have some tables and a break room space with a microwave and a fridge. So usually what happens is the kids class is at 4:30, buddy. They finish at 5:30, and then we get the kids set up with homework or food, and we take a little 30-minute break to make sure the kids are all set up, and then the adult class starts at 6, and then the kids just have free play for the hour that the adults are on the mat. And for me, that was the best that I could think of with having my kids in here every day was to make sure that they had, a safe, free space and that they could be fed, that they can, get a proper dinner. So, I can bring food in here, heat it up on the microwave, sit them at
Yeah.
the table and do their thing. So that's how we structured the academy when we were looking for space was to make sure that, you know, uh, the kids could be happy and content so that the adults could have their time. And so they socialize that hour and a half where the adults are out there. So,
And it's a separate room that they can go to play?
mm, yeah, so there's two sides to the facility. One side is a warehouse, big open warehouse, and the other side is an office. And we've just configured the office suites to be a lobby, a playroom, and a back a back area and tables and microwaves and stuff, little break area for the
And
kids
that
there.
helps with noise too. I know that's not the first intention, but that helps with noise too, right?
Yeah, and then also too, like the kids throwing things, rolling the ball. It still happens over here, but if we can get the kids contained over on the other space, it's a little bit less disruptive for the adults to, contain them.
Yeah. This is hitting on 2 big aspects is that, a lot of families train together, and so that's what happens when, the parents are training, where do the kids go? And so that's what the other part is that, I feel like, we'll see, but maybe a lot of academies are going in that direction where they're having separate areas than the sit-down lobby, yeah, for kids, um,
Right.
to play, yeah.
Yeah,
I talked to somebody else the other
it
day,
was
he has,
super
like, a
important.
basketball goal up outside, so his area is outside, and he
Mhm.
has another, room as
Yep.
well.
Yeah, it was something that was super important because my kids are still relatively young with starting the academy. I was like, if they're going to be in here every day, like I need to make sure they have a space to do their homework, that they're fed, that they're having a good time, that they're not miserable being here.
Yeah,
I want them to like back fondly on it. So we've tried really
right.
hard, or we've created that. 'Cause
Make it a place where they want to go even if they're not,
Mhm.
training. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean
So it's social for them
it's
as
not
well.
every day, sometimes we wanna play in the neighborhood cul-de-sac and we're a little upset, but, we've done our best to set it up.
What's been the biggest, challenge for you, over the, last, year or so?
Yeah, so I really think that that first 6 months was much more difficult than I thought it was gonna be, and so I'm not 100% on the reasons by it, but we also, like I said, we trained off in Maryland and Virginia, which is pretty far from here. We knew no one in the jujitsu community, when we moved back down here, even though I grew up here, I didn't start jujitsu until, well after I had relocated. So, when we came here, it was just trying to get, Google to put us on Google Maps. There were,
Okay.
other yeah, yeah, that was really,
That's a
really
big deal.
challenging. And then I invested a good amount of money in marketing and it didn't seem to be very successful. So I've put on marketing a lot myself. I've been trying to teach myself. So for me, that was the biggest thing was getting to know people, getting the word out that we were here because, we weren't known in the area. We knew no contacts. And, as a scientist, I had zero like social media marketing like concepts, the business
Right.
knowledge. I was completely missing it. And um it's hard until you have a nucleus of people to really get nobody to get people to stay. So some
Mhm.
nights so what would end up happening is the students that we had, they would kind of cluster on the same evenings and nobody really can train 6 days a week unless you're doing this, semi pro or pro, you have your work and your family obligations. So our students would cluster. And then if we would get a new person that happened to walk in, it'd be a night we had zero people and it wasn't a good first impression. So that first 6 months, just getting a student base at every class and getting
Yeah.
the word out that we existed was just much more challenging than I anticipated. Again, I'm reading, researching, learning about SEO, learning about marketing, and I'm trying to add the business part, but I totally was missing those skill sets before. Didn't know I was missing the skill sets. I thought I was just going to teach jujitsu.
Yeah.
A little green, but yeah,
So
yeah.
at first you needed that because you just didn't have, like, the word of mouth yet. You didn't have the nucleus
Didn't
to have the word of mouth,
right.
right? Yeah.
Mom, we're in a podcast. You hop off, okay? Or you be quiet.
What,
But yeah, no, I just I didn't realize how lacking in that area that I was. And again, I invested money in marketing agencies and I'm just not sure. It didn't seem to be very fruitful. And I don't know if it was also too because they didn't quite understand the culture. So I don't know if that's what
yeah.
it was. I'm not sure, but that was the challenge.
If you could just tell, the audience who have never trained in jujitsu, don't have kids training, could you tell us, what does jujitsu mean to you? What is it what has it done for you? What you don't have to
Yeah,
go on, like, for 5 minutes, but maybe, like, a summary of, like, at its nucleus, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so jujitsu for me, when I started jujitsu, I was only doing it for about 6 months when my younger brother was killed in a car accident, and I had just moved to a new state, and I was very like struggling. I didn't have a support system. I was in a new state. I had no friends, but my jujitsu relationships they kind of like stepped in and helped me out. And then jujitsu is a space where you completely don't think while you're training other than thinking about what's ahead of you. So you have a clear mind, the flow that people talk about, the flow state. So when I was, grieving and without support, I think part of the reason I got good at jujitsu is because I had I had that support system and I had a space where I was getting endorphins, I was clearing my head, I was getting my frustrations out. And I just started training really, really hard just to manage that difficult time. And then I started competing and I started being, successful. I started winning local tournaments. I won worlds a few times. Uh, I don't
Oh,
know. It
wow.
just, the early part, it was super helpful again, because I was just lost in a new state with, sadness and no support. And so I really think digging into it gave me early success and kind of gave me a bit of a hunger. And the reason I keep doing it is because of the complexity that I talk about. I can learn new stuff all the
Um,
time. I can apply leverage. I can be successful against, 20-year-old dudes. I hold my own okay, and I'm happy about that, and I feel good about it. And I don't know, I've met a lot of people through it. It's very social, and I think generally welcoming environment. Occasionally, some men don't enjoy females to be part of their group, but for the most part, very welcoming. For the most part. Buddy, you
what
gotta hop
makes
on.
it so what makes Breakwater so special there? Why do people love it so much?
So what I'm going for and what I am hoping is that I bring my mom essence to it. So I've really been working on with the kids as much technique, but more so about being good ukes, being good human beings to your partner, adjusting their pressure, helping the kids understand that it's something that I expect them to be respectful. We're never grappling out of anger. We're always shaking hands. I even with my adult males, they'll go to do things and I'll be like, sorry, my mom brain says we have to take that down. So I even though they're adults, I kind of mom some of the other students too. Like I just don't want them to have I want them to have like longevity in the sport and to love their sport. I don't want them to have a, messed up shoulder or messed up neck. So we try to be as technical and supportive as we can. And so that's what I'm trying to bring to the environment is a happy, supportive place for people to come in, and for kids to kind of develop into emotionally regulated, kind humans with self-defense skills.
Awesome, awesome. And Natalie, you help too, right? You help train as well, right? You help
Yeah,
other kids? Do you like
yeah,
doing that?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, so she teaches a 3 to 5-year-old class with me, and she's very sweet to the kids. She takes good care of them.
What's your favorite part of that when you're helping, your mom teach?
Um, my favorite part is like it's very enjoyable to have like my mom in here to like help whenever I need something. And I also like teaching the little kids because I feel like it's very fun. And I like seeing like all the little kids improve and they can like grow up and learn how to be safe.
Okay, does it make you feel good when you're helping them?
Yeah, it does.
Cool, cool, cool.
So
Um,
Natalie is just came to me as nurturing and thoughtful. She just entered the earth with that little personality.
awesome, awesome. Um, Rachel, to end it, what would you like to say to people who do not train about jujitsu or don't have kids in jujitsu? What would you like to say to them?
Yeah, I tell everybody that hands down, I can honestly say it's the best thing that I've ever been a part of. Again, it gave me the community that I was looking for. It gave me strength. I'm very strong still in my 40s. I um, feel feel very mobile. I feel very strong. I feel intellectually challenged. I think I have fun when I come in, so it brings me endorphins and happiness. So for me, it's a very, very positive thing. Um, from the mom perspective, for the kids, I think it teaches them how to stay regulated under stress and to also um, be conscientious to other people. I think people think that it's fighting, and I think that is off-putting, but we're training the kids to be conscientious and to remain kind and thoughtful and protective to their partners and to understand the concept of consent. Like my kids, they don't have to be in a submission. They can tap anytime they want to. If we have a competitor that's an adult, maybe that would be a different story. But all of my kids, like, learn your body, learn how it feels, learn to say no, listen to when your partner says no, adjust as you need to. So I think it's really good people skills and emotional regulation skills for kids. And it's just fun. I also think that some of my kids that are struggling like with various things in school to sit still. This is a place where they get to be tactile, they get to be hands on, they get to be encouraged. So I think it has a lot of benefits to kids that just need a safe space to roughhouse because I think roughhousing is important, and we do our best to teach them how to roughhouse in a safe way, in a thoughtful way. Uh, I think they really enjoy it sometimes, as much as it can be hard, it can be very fun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You know how I learned how to, be calm under stress? Being a waiter for, like, 8 years in college and out of college, and then being a teacher, right after that for about 4 years.
you
So,
know how they say that
you could go through
you're
that or you can train jujitsu.
right. They say that like people have like nightmares about not turning in their homework. I actually have nightmares about being in the weeds sometimes from waitressing. Totally. That is a real thing. It is a very challenging job. I agree wholeheartedly.
It morphs you as a person, 100%, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for being on, really had fun. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Natalie, and what you're doing, Natalie, for the other kids. And, Rachel, tell Fred I said hey, and, yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you have a wonderful day today, okay?
Yeah. Thanks so much for having us. It was nice to meet you.
You as well. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon, all right? Thank you so much,
All right.
Rachel. Thanks,
Thank
Natalie.
you. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, Bill, how's it going today?
Great, man. How you doing, Cody?
I'm good, good, good. Thank you so much. Um, can you tell me your first and last name and the name of the academy and the location of the academy?
Yeah, my name is Bill Boutwell, and I'm the owner of Montgomery Martial Arts Academy in Montgomery, Alabama.
Awesome. And what kind of like classes do you guys offer? Is it different age groups? Is it gi and no gi or one or the other?
Yeah, we actually started age 4, so we have a Little Warriors program is 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, and we have 7 to 12-year-olds. We have teenage programs, and then we have adult programs. But we are a BJJ and Krav Maga Academy.
What was the second part that you said? A BJJ and
We're
what?
a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and a Krav Maga Academy. Krav Maga.
What
Krav
is
Maga,
that?
yeah, Israeli combat fighting.
Oh, okay,
It's,
okay.
Israeli combat fighting.
Yeah, okay. I'm
Yeah,
just
so
not familiar
Krav
with it all.
Maga literally means contact combat. Yep.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And is that like, is it striking or I have no idea.
Well, really the best way to relate it is it's MMA, but without rules, you know what I mean? So, we
Okay.
still, we do full contact kickboxing. We do, what we call warrior ethos tests where they, put on helmets and vests and really go 100%, power and force. There's grappling portions in it, there's MMA rounds in it too, but it's like MMA, but In MMA, you have a rule set like no gouging the eyes, no striking the groin, no hitting the brainstem, things like that. But
Okay.
this is combat fighting, so whatever it's doing, I just
Oh,
tell everybody it's simply learn how to do bad things to bad people and go home. You know,
okay. What other way to
yeah,
describe it,
we don't
right?
even call it an art. You know, we don't even call it an art. It's just teaching you violence. You know, but it's
Okay.
MMA without rules, basically. Yep.
All right, let's start the story. Can you go back as far back as you want with your personal jujitsu story and then kind of lead up to the academy?
Sure. So, my background is I've been an athlete all my life, and then I was in the army, and I was airborne infantry. And then when I got out of the army, I ended up doing triathlon for a couple decades, and then one day I happened to be just scrolling through the TV set one afternoon, and lo and behold, there was the first episode of The Ultimate Fighter. You remember that with
Okay.
Stefan Bonner and Forrest Griffin on that show?
Okay.
And when I first flipped through that channel and I saw that, I was like, "Oh, man, that's too violent. I can't watch it." So I skipped by it, and I gotta go back and see that train wreck, and so I went back to it, then I went back off of it, went back to it, and then I finished the episode and watched every one for about the next 7 or 8 years, never missed an episode, but, the thing that got my attention was I'd been in combatives in the military, and I'd done, some judo. We learned a rear naked choke, but didn't even know where it came from, but when I saw the ground fighting portions on The Ultimate Fighter, that was the catch. I'd never seen, Brazilian jiu-jitsu before. And
Okay.
so that was the voodoo that I said I had to learn. Okay. So
Okay.
I actually ran into some guys at Buffalo Wild Wing watching one of the early UFC fights, and they were training. So we started talking. They talked about my combative experience, so they wanted me to come train with them. So I started training with them, and the next thing you know, we opened up a school and started training together, and then started training fighters. And so it escalated pretty quick, So that was an MMA school, and, I was
Were
kinda
you
old
still
in
in the
my journey
military at
anyway,
that point? I
so
want to
I
make sure
was
I understand.
no, I was 45 years old, you know what I mean, at
Okay.
that point, and I was burnt out on triathlon, doing triathlons. I was tired of, like, triathlon partners quitting after a couple years and stuff, and was really getting bored with it anyway. So 2 decades of triathlons, I was ready to do something different, and then when I saw that, that caught my eye, and, so that began to really pique my interest, and so I jumped into it and, just went head first. I was up in the morning, training early morning classes. I was there all day. I was training late in the evening classes. I was just gonna learn this jujitsu stuff, and the MMA caught my eye too, so I was doing both of them. But, I was 45 when I started, so I was a little late coming to the party, but I
Gosh,
was in
I'm
still
40 now.
really
I'm
good
thinking, like,
shape.
that's too old,
Yeah.
dude.
No, that's what I'm telling you about, but I was in good shape from the triathlons and everything and still worked out, lift weights and everything. But after about 5 years of it and training with fighters and doing fight camps for 5 years, I was getting 50 and I just like, you know, I'm a little bit too old for this, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I could fight all night with them, but then the next day getting out of bed was hard, And
Mhm.
so I had 2 partners at the time with the MMA school, and then I decided that I was just gonna do jujitsu and Krav Maga. And
Uh-huh.
so I broke off and started my own academy, 12 and a half years ago. And so
Okay.
that's kinda where that started from. Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome.
so
Awesome.
so that's what I've been doing for the last, like I said, 12 and a half years. Like I said, started at age 45 training jujitsu, and then I got my black belt. My goal was to get my black belt before I turned 60, and I got it when I was 59. So I'm a black belt under, Master Carlos Machado.
Okay.
And, yeah, just a great person, great affiliation, and, I've been a black belt now under him for, 3 years. Mhm.
Where did you train under him? Like, where was that?
Well,
Uh,
we have camps, twice a year,
mhm.
in Dallas, and
Mhm.
also I've actually been to the brothers camp where all his brothers were there, in Oklahoma a couple times too. So, we have a spring camp and a winter camp, and so
Okay.
those camps last 4 days. And, we also do online stuff every week. And so
Mhm.
every week, Master Carlos is actually on the mat with a camera, and we ask questions through video feeds, and they demonstrate stuff, do stuff.
Awesome.
But like I said, they also come to the academies and do seminars and things like that. Mhm.
Okay. 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 When you
So, yeah,
started
matter of
to,
fact, it's like
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, matter of fact, he just promoted this last camp, 5 coral belts. So he's a red and white coral belt and just promoted 5 coral belts under him in his affiliation. So pretty impressive. Yep.
Okay, wow, wow. What about, when you started to teach, jujitsu? I mean, did you
Yep.
like it right away?
Yep.
Did you love teaching right away?
Um, well, the thing was when I started here in Montgomery, Alabama, Montgomery is really, we joke about it not really being a city, even though it's the capital of Alabama. It's just a big town, basically.
Yeah,
So, and it's slow to change, and so Montgomery's always the last to see anything, and so jujitsu was brand new at that time. There wasn't anybody higher than a blue belt really that I knew in the area,
okay,
and, I you know, I got my blue belt in, really little bit less than a year, but I was training nonstop, and was really, like I said, in good shape, so that's why the acceleration was there, and I was doing, like I said, morning and night every day. But,
okay,
yeah, I fell in love with it, but it really was a necessity after a while because, there was nobody to teach it, and it was just me. And so I began teaching as a blue belt, and, that's been my story is I've had people, like, on my heels my whole entire career that were my students, that were actually some of them a stripe behind me, at times. So,
right.
it's been quite a journey. Yeah, mhm.
Okay, yeah, that's
Not the best
interesting.
way, you know what I mean? It's
But
it's better if you have
it's a
somebody
way.
who's
It's a way of hundreds of ways, right? But I understand what you mean.
what's that?
It's a way.
Yeah.
It's a way, everybody has a different
Yep.
way. But yeah, yeah, I mean,
Well, it was a necessity, we just didn't have another choice at the time, that was it. Either I teach as a blue belt or classes didn't get taught, and so, I tell my guys all the time now, they just don't know how well they have it, you know what I mean? To have you know, black belts on the mat with them, that actually have been training for, over a decade and that actually can pass down the information. I said,
mhm,
it's not like when I was sitting there having to watch YouTube and figure it all out and then have to get beat up and figure it out and then teach it.
right,
It's a lot easier now because yeah, I can watch a video and understand everything that's going on in the video, even the minutiae, little bits and parts and stuff. But back then, it was not fun as a blue belt. I mean, it was challenging, to do that, but it's a lot easier if you have people who have decades of experience in front of you, you know?
right,
So they're spoiled now. Now, like I said, I've been teaching in Montgomery now for about 17 years, so
okay. So to train that much, you said your morning and night, it must have meant a lot to you. Why are you so passionate about jujitsu?
yeah. Well, I tell you, after I got into it too, though, at that particular time, right after I got into it, I went through a divorce. And it was kind of a dark time, and, also, didn't have the military anymore, been through some different crises in life, and you're trying to figure out what the next thing you're gonna do with your life was, and really, I went through battled some PTSD and stuff like that for quite a while, and, there was a period of time where, uh, jujitsu was and MMA was really the only thing I could do. And so I could get up in the morning and go train, and then it didn't function much during the day, and I could go back in the evening and get on the mat and function again because there, on the mat, you don't really have any problems. Once you walk in the door, your problem is somebody trying to punch you in the face or somebody trying to choke you unconscious, and it takes your mind off of everything else. And
Mhm,
so it became therapeutic for me. You know what I mean? It was my therapy. And it 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 still, is there today. I mean, I'm not in a dark place like I was at that particular time, but it kept me, gave me a reason to get up in the morning, you know what I mean? And it gave me a
mhm.
place to go to clear my brain and, gave me a place to go where I felt a connection to something. And so I was lost for quite a while doing that, but that was what kept me going,
Okay.
for a couple of years anyway.
So just like,
Yeah.
taking a run, anything, like, strenuous or out in nature, it's similar, but maybe
Yeah.
even more so because you're fighting someone, in a way.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it
Um,
it it like I said, there's nothing else you can really think about, and, we tell people, I mean, all the time is my goal is to make it everybody's happy place. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it was my happy place. And get people all the time that come in there with those same kind of problems where they're battling anxiety, depression, whatever. But when they come in there, it all goes away. You know what I mean? When you're focused on fighting and defending yourself and stuff like that, everything goes out the window. That's on the prefrontal cortex of your brain right there, you know?
Right, 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 right. Why do people love it there? What's so special and unique about it?
Um, Probably a lot of people say it, but I mean, it feels like family, you know what I mean? So it's like everybody knows your name, you know?
Mhm.
We're a little bit different in the sense that you know, I mean, most of my members actually even have my phone number, you know? Um, all the adults just about have my phone number even where they can call me. But I mean, we pray after every class, every kid class, every adult class, everything. Hang around, chat with them afterwards. That my goal really is to make it their happy place. I really want them to feel like that's a place they can come to escape everything else. And so, to me, that's what people tell me. Excuse me, is that it just feels like family. You know.
Awesome, awesome. And you've been going at it for a while now. How many years now you said? You said
Yeah, 17 years I've been teaching in Montgomery. So 12 years
okay.
at this academy and then 5 years at the MMA school that we had before. But I
Do
had
y'all
two
have a
partners. Yeah.
high military, um, concentration there or
Yeah. We do because Maxwell Air Force Base is the Air Force hub. And so all of the Air Force officer training schools are at Maxwell. And so they all have to come there at different phases. They come there when they make captain, they come there when they make major, they come there when they make colonel. So they go through all their different phases right there. And so we get those people in all the time. So and then we have regular permanent party here. But yeah, there's quite a few military in the area.
so of course you can relate to them really well, of course.
I
That
can. I can. Yep. My dad served also. He retired. He did 6 years Army, finished up in the Air Force. My younger brother, who actually lives in my neighborhood, did 28 years in the Air Force. He was a fighter pilot. And so, yeah, so still plenty of other family members that were military as well. Mm.
awesome, awesome. Well, to end with this, can you tell me, what would you like to tell people who are on the outside who don't train or don't train yet? What would you like to tell them about jujitsu?
Well, jujitsu, I mean, we say it's for everybody, you know what I mean? And that's relative, you know what I mean? It's for everybody who wants to actually put in the work and grow. Um, and you can do that at any age. Like I said, I was 45 when I started. But you do need to like work your way into it. If you're not in shape and you've been, stagnant, you really got to take your time. After 40, I tell everybody, tap early. Well, tell everybody anyway, tap early, tap often. That it's a learning process.
Mhm.
And the older you are, the more time it's gonna take for you to get in there and get your flexibility and get your range of motion and things like that, and you don't wanna
Yeah.
really get hurt right off the bat, and then it sets you back instead of gives you something to look forward to. But
Mm.
if you come in and you're patient with it and you take your time and, you study it for the art that it is because it is, that's you know, what keeps me going is it is an unsolvable riddle, you know what I mean? It can't be solved. You're constantly trying to solve it, and, I've been a black belt now for 3 years, and it's like, you knew it when you got your black belt, you're like, "Man, I'm just now understanding what I don't know," how much I don't know, because every day, there's different positions and different counters and different this and different that, and then you gotta figure out how do you counter their counters, and it's just endless, and so I tell everybody, it's the jujitsu of a mano a mano, physical competition, and so it's like the ultimate. You're actually, doing combatives and it's a chess match. And so it's just, you get one step behind, you die. You know what I mean? You make one wrong turn, you die. And trying to stay alive in that game. That's what makes it an art. It's what makes it fun. Um, uh, you know, and like I said, if you just take it and you take it the right speed with the right mentality, you can stay in it for a long, long, long time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like, I sent you a picture, like, with my daughter on my shoulders, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's my baby. So my oldest is 29 and my youngest is, she was born the year I started that academy. Uh, but I still train with her, you know what I mean? So it's not many things you can do in your 60s where you're actually training with your kids. You know, you can get out there and roll with them and play with them, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
coach them and stuff like that. So, um, you can push it very long. And I know people that are much older than me, like go to Carlos Machado's, camps and stuff, and there'll be people in their 70s that are black belts that are still rolling,
Mm.
so that gives me hope being in my 60s, there's 70-year-olds still rolling. But, even, like, on my 60th birthday, um, I went, 60 minutes nonstop, starting with my top students, went 10 students back to back to back, for 1 hour at 60. So that was my goal on my 60th birthday. I wanted to roll 60 minutes nonstop. And so
Wow.
I tapped out 8 out of the 10, beat the other 2 on points, but I didn't 2 of them got away. I didn't submit. 1 brown belt, 1 purple belt. But, but anyway, the rest of them, like I said, it was just that was a goal for me, so to know that in your 60s, you can still be, competing against guys that are half
Yeah.
your age, um, it keeps you young, keeps you alive. People say, "How do you stay in shape?" I was like, "It's easy when you have, kids trying to punch you in the face or choke you out every day." You know what I mean? It keeps you on
Mhm.
your toes, so it keeps you young,
Yeah.
keeps you spry. But,
Keeps you young. Yeah.
again, it keeps you young and it keeps as you grow older, you need something anyway, cognitively for your mind to occupy. Otherwise, that's where Alzheimer's and dementia come in. And so
Okay.
you constantly need to be learning something new. So it's something new. It's an art that's endless. You can learn it all your life and you still have to learn. It's always interesting with Master Carlos when you're on the mat with him and stuff, and somebody will ask him a question. They're like, "Well, show me what you're doing." Well, that's interesting. Well, let me try to dissect it and figure it out. And then you have somebody who's been training jujitsu, same age as me, but he's been training since he was 4. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
he's 63, been training since he was 4. Um, but to watch him sit there and, okay, I see it, I feel it, I understand it. Here's what's doing. Here's how you stop it. Here's how you fix it. Whatever, but things that he hasn't seen. It's like, how you been training since you're 4? There's stuff that you haven't seen, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's the way jujitsu is. Just there is no end to it. It's infinite, you know? So that's what makes it fun and challenging at the same time. Yeah.
What would you like to say to your community there at the academy?
Man, to my people at my academy, I'm grateful for them every day. You know what I mean? I'm grateful just like, for their friendships, for them, the camaraderie that we share. Uh, I'm grateful that they give me an opportunity to serve them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To watch them grow. That's always fun. You know what I mean? The thing that probably excites me the most is when a student actually taps me for the first time ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just blown away that, wow, they finally actually got me. You know what I mean? After all these years, you know what I mean? They've got to that point where they're actually got the skill that I really have to be, I can no longer play. You know what I mean? Now it's a fight. And
Yeah.
so those always crack me up the first time, man. I get way more excited than they do when they tap me for the first time. You know what I mean? Because it means I did my job. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If I
You
taught
jump
them
up
and
and
they
yell.
actually tap me out, it's like, wow. Yeah, I do. I get excited. I love it. I'll even tell the whole class. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't believe this just happened. And they'll clap for them. First time ever. So, but that's a lot of fun to see somebody grow to that point. Where they
I
tap a
bet.
black belt out. So yeah,
I bet.
pretty impressive. I can still remember the first time I did. You know what I mean? So yeah,
What was that like?
yeah.
Amazing?
Uh, you're
What
still in
belt were
shock.
you?
You couldn't believe it happened. I was a blue belt. Yeah, I was a blue belt at the time. And, so I couldn't believe that I actually was able to do what I did, but it was a pretty good setup that I'd
Shock.
learned and had been practicing on for quite a while. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I couldn't believe it happened. Then you weren't sure how to act and how to respond, you know what I mean? Like, "Oh, no, am I in trouble?"
Yeah.
You know? But, anyway, he was a good
Do I
sport
do
about
I
all that,
smile at all?
he bragged on me too. Yeah, yeah, didn't know. I don't know
Do I
what to
walk out?
do. That's not supposed to happen, is it? Yeah, so I make them feel comfortable when they do it, you know what I mean? Because 'Cause I'm like, I'm excited for them, you know? So, because 'cause they've learned the art, they didn't cheat. They can't get anything by cheating, they won't ever win. But when they do it right, that's when they'll get there. Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on, man. I really appreciate it. You have a really cool story. And yeah, what you're doing with the community there, man, it's really awesome. 17 years there. I really appreciate it, you being on. I had a good time. And yeah, I'll talk to you later, man. I hope you have an awesome day. And I'll be
Yep.
talking to you soon, Bill. Okay.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you having me on.
For sure. Okay. I'll see you soon. Thank you, Bill.
Alright, take care.
You
Bye.
too.